Hi, I'm Patrick Bush, and this is Hawthorn House. We worked with Instinct Builders and Bundle Design to create our ideal home here in Bellingham, Washington. The main goal with this home was to take a home that was built in 1952 and get it ready for the next 100 years.
Pat and Karen first came to us, as Pat said, what they were looking for was a remodeled house that brought this old house up to current standards. And so that included a lot of energy efficiency upgrades, comfort upgrades, but it also completely rethought the existing floor plan. The existing house was extremely compartmentalized and didn't really take advantage of the view very well. And so we tried to stick within the existing footprint of the building, but rearrange the entire interior layout to take advantage of those views. One of the most important aspects that the interior designer worked with the clients on is bringing together a material palette. And so if you look around the house, there is a very limited palette of materials. So we have the nice clean drywall walls, we have really dark floors and columns and window frames, and then we warm the whole space up with a little bit of natural wood. Keeping that material palette really minimal and neutral allows it to have a lot greener materials as well. So the ceiling finish, for example, is just unfinished pine boards. And we bring that back into spaces like the kitchen, where some of the cabinetry is that dark material again, but then we bring back those warm woods to warm the whole kitchen up. So this house is all electric. However, for resiliency, we do sometimes include a wood stove. That allows us to still heat the house if the power were to ever go out. One of the important things to remember when you're building in an urban or suburban environment is you do have a lot of neighbors and a lot of impact on people with things like a wood-burning stove. And so for this project, this is the Reyes QD2. It's one of the lowest stoves with the extremely low particulate matter emissions. And so that's really important, not necessarily for your own health, but all the health of your neighbors. This is called the Sandin CO2 heat pump. So rather than using a more toxic refrigerant to power, this one uses CO2, which has the lowest global warming potential out there on the market. The one thing to consider when looking at using this type of a system with a new house is it does have a limited capacity. One thing that's a little bit different about most of our projects and a lot of contemporary houses is that we insulate on the slope of the roof rather than on the ceiling plane. The advantageous part of doing that is the fact that now we've created a conditioned space that envelops the entire house. And what that does for us, it allows us to put all of our ductwork and our mechanical units within a conditioned space rather than letting them live outside in the cold weather. Everything's in a heated space, so we don't have to worry about the ducts going out into the freezing cold weather and having a lot of heat loss.
One of the goals with the project again was to maintain the original envelope, but to build upon that. So the original wall was a 2x4 wall, so we only had 4 inches of insulation. And part of the upgrade in making this a more efficient envelope is we tore it down to the studs, took all the old insulation out, packed in new insulation, sheeted it, and then built another furred in wall with another 2x4 on the inside of that, packed that with insulation, and then put all of our drywall on.
Okay, so this house does have radiant heating using that sanded heat pump. One of the important things to remember is that radiant heating gives you a really monolithic feeling of heat because you're walking on your heating surface. So for example, if you had a really small heater that was say yay big, you would have to heat that unit up extremely hot to actually heat this space. The advantageous portion of doing radiant floors in a concrete surface is now you're walking on that heating surface. So our heating surface, rather than being a little radiator, is a massive area, and so we can spread that heat to every corner of the house.